Question everything, for the truth should not be televised. And that's for sure. So with that, well, you know, B.E.T. Awards. B.E.T. Black Evil Television. Black Entertainment TV. Well, at the end of the day, you know, where are we going? You know, when you watch the Boondocks, you've seen what the Boondocks say, the part about B.E.T. And they was predicting some real stuff about our communities. And I guess somebody didn't want our predictions like the Simpsons to be heard, so they took them down because, you know, people can get, you know, very impressionable, especially young folks, when it comes to certain stuff that's being given to them through programs. So with that stated, you know, when you look at how the twerking and the ratchet look of clothes and the unclassy behavior of these so-called wealthy and rich celebrities that look like us, you know, who actually started all that? You know what I mean? Because when you look at it and who's promoting it and who's controlling it. Because when you look at back in the day, you know, when hip hop was coming out and you had all, you know, sort of movement in the sense of unification and change and upliftment from the music, you know, with Poor Righteous Teachers, Dead Presidents, you know what I mean? You had Brand Nubian, you had all these different other groups that really was Public Enemy, talking real stuff about unifying our people and uniting our people and uplifting our people. And then out of nowhere, this gangster rap and this ratchet behavior came and just swept our community. But who controlled that? Because see, when you think about a lot of these people, all these entertainers, they're poor people with talent. And their talent was seen by colonizers who control the resources and the wealth and decided on which avenue should they approach when it comes to giving out their wealth and signing these poor people with talent to these contracts to give them money to become rich and famous. It was the colonizers who made the decision, not the poor people coming out of the community. They made the decision when the contract was handed to them to turn an eye and turn the other cheek, so to say, when it comes to what type of influence they was going to be in our communities. But the people that actually control and orchestrate this is not people that look like us. They're the ones who control the money. The ones who say, I'm not putting you on a contract unless you rap a certain type of way, unless you sing a certain type of way, unless you dress a certain type of way, unless you look a certain type of way. And in turn, I can make you famous. That's what we're dealing with. Because see, when the 1988 and all that was around, the music was about our people uniting and uplifting our people and loving yourself in the sense of self-expression based off of our culture and how we carry ourselves as Aboriginal Niggros of America. And that was threatening to the nation with colonizers who actually was giving the contracts out and bringing them into the studios. That's what they said. That's their words from back then. Allegedly, got to put it out there like that. And with that, This Is the Breaks, the song This Is the Breaks, some of y'all old enough to know that's that era of song when it came out. This Is the Breaks was the basis of telling us that it was a separation coming with the music, where those that was going into mainstream was turning a blind eye and a block on what was going to be promoted to our people. And those that went underground was those that was getting pushed and flooded out of the mainstream of the eye of the children, the eye of the people, that was pushing that righteous music and true hip hop when it comes to unifying our people and uplifting our people. That separation came and divided the music. And in that, they ran with the ratchet music. NWA came out in 1987, 1988. That was that gangster era that brought this gangster rap into fruition, as well as that gang culture, sort of say, into fruition. But remember, this was people who was thirsty, coming out of poverty, that wanted a sort of better life through finances. And in turn, the people that controlled that finances was the colonizers, who told them, if you don't rap a certain way, if you don't be a certain way and a certain image to your people that we wanna promote, then there's nothing happening with it. We ain't gonna sign you. You ain't going nowhere. Don't you think that's a reality? Don't you think that's where we at 30 years later? What we seeing today? Young poor people coming out of our communities wanting to get ahead, but only can perform and act and rap a certain way in order to get on a contract. Well, go back to what Ice Cube said. I no longer take contracts that do certain things to my people. I no longer take contracts that do certain things to our people. Now, allegedly, those certain things, you can go look up LL and them, hear them out their own mouth and what they said about that. Because they took contracts, signed contracts in order to do this, leading us a certain way. That was their words. And in turn, depending on which way you're going, it can lead you to destruction, especially being a youthful person, a child, a young teenager, a young adult who's still impressionable based off of what you're seeing. And today, we done went totally ratchet, and that's by design, guys. This ain't by no accident. There's a certain group of people that want to see our destruction, and allegedly, and because of it, they know how to manipulate our people into that fashion in order to breed that destruction. Remember what Malcolm X said, and before him and our forefathers said, there was a field and there was a house. That's the reality to it. And those that separate into those two forms is the reality of what you see. But the ones that's dealing with that house, they're the ones who get promoted over the field. And because of it, what is happening with them in the house becomes the norm, the reality for the field. And this is what we're seeing. That's why when you watch the Django, the movie with Samuel Jackson and Jamie Foxx, you seeing the two difference. The two difference. That's a real reality that we're dealing with. And Samuel Jackson played that to the fullest, based off of 9 times out of 10 living it to the fullest. But we got to understand that's what it's about, allegedly. You know, because we can't keep acting like these things ain't going on, and this is why we in the boat we in. See, all this go down to political power. We don't control our political outlook on who we are. We just don't. It's not our reality. We're pushed into a society by force, into a culture, into a nation by force. We didn't want that. And because of it, they overshadow who we really are and what we should be really about for our nation through manipulation and control. No different from the economic power that they have over us as well when it comes to dealing with the resources. I say this all the time. We don't control the resources, so we get bare minimum. Thus, when you drive around our community, they call it ghetto slums and hoods, and the majority of what you see is abandoned buildings, abandoned houses, abandoned stores, and so on. Why? Because that's resources. And when you get in bare minimum to open up your, excuse me with these hands, because you know how people think, bare minimum with the resources to open up businesses and small businesses in your image, in your community, then your community going to look like that based off of the bare minimum resources. All this stuff is intertwined into each other. See, we somehow got drunk that punch that we're liberated, and we're not. That we live in this freedom, and we're really not. It's an illusion, a delusion that we done fell into, to where now we're no longer doing what our forefathers and our ancestors was doing before us. And that's unifying, uniting to control our own environment and our own reality of a nation for who we are. And this is what we're seeing today. And this is why BET is so ratchet. And with that, I just don't get it. I just don't understand it. But that is the question. You let me know. Peace, peace.